We are here at the House of Lords, the seat of British democracy, and with us is Lord Delakia. Lord Delakia is the Lord Delakia is the Lord of Waltham Brooks in West Sussex. Welcome to our program today.
Thank you for inviting me to speak to you.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult for our viewers, especially from the ethnic minority, to know what is going on within the British parliamentary system. Could you first explain to us who is a Lord and what does he do?
Yes. I think what we've got to do to start from the basic principles that British Parliament is predominantly what happens when people are elected, they go to the House of Commons. But then there is a second chamber, the upper house, or in America they call it Senate, which is what we commonly call the House of Lords in this country. That is a predominantly appointed chamber. You don't fight elections, you are appointed because of the contribution that you have made in the community. And large number of people who serve in the House of Lords are the people who have the public service record, involvement with charitable work, involvement with the political system in this country, and they become members of the House of Lords. So everything that happens in the House of Commons then comes to the House of Lords, and the function of the House of Lords is A, to scrutinize the legislation, and B, to revise where we consider that the legislation isn't appropriate. Effectively, it is almost a replica of the House of Commons.
Now, in a nutshell, is it possible that you could tell us this brief history of the House of Lords itself as a chamber?
Yes, I mean, one has to go too far down in the history that the principle of democracy has existed in this country for a very long time. The parliamentary democracy has evolved over that period of time, within which an elected member actually represents the interests of his community. But equally, in the old days, the feudal system, where you have people with land and people have big sort of places to live in, they were actually brought in to create an upper house where the aristocrat were mainly the people in the upper house. Over a period of years, this has changed, and now you have a situation that literally almost all those people who were commonly called the hereditary peers have now been removed, and majority of the people now are appointed people in the House of Lords and elected in the Commons.
We'll come back to that later, but what I need to know is that there are two issues here. We have the House of Lords,
yes,
and we have the Lords.
Yes.
Can you tell us the difference?
Yes. That is because remember that both houses, the Commons and the Lords, are legislative chambers. They produce law in this country. But also the House of Lords also acts as ultimately like a Supreme Court that operates in other parts of the world. Here the final authority in law is that of the House of Lords. So you have in the House of Lords the law lords who are appointed by the judiciary in this country, who are law lords. They are the one who actually deal with the final appeal that is made to the appeal court judge, to the law lords appeal. And they are the one who finally determine, once you reach that particular stage, there is no further recourse to the law, except that you can go to the Human Rights Commission in Strasbourg to look at your particular issue. But the final authority in terms of Supreme Court is the law lords in the House of Lords.
Yeah, that brings in the issue of parliamentary sovereignty,
Yes.
where at the moment, is it possible you can put some more light on the issue of parliamentary sovereignty? Is the House of Lords still the highest court in the land, or have you at the moment recognized the European Court?
Well, let's put it this way, that by our membership of the European community, it is right and proper that there is an access to people that they can go to the European Court. But for all intent and purpose, a substantial number of cases are being resolved in this country. Occasionally may happen. For example, let me give you a practical example. Prisoners in this country felt that they should have a right to vote. Why should they lose their right of vote just because they are in prison? The Parliament decided against it. The court decided against it. They didn't succeed at all. So they took their particular case to the Human Rights Court, having been denied the right to vote in Parliament, in the parliamentary election. And the European Court decided that that was unfair and these people should have a right of vote. So British government will now have to look at that legislation to see how they can make the appropriate improvement. But that's just a small example. There could be some very serious cases. The earlier cases that comes to mind was the whole question of expulsion of people from certain countries where they feel that they